But Nets podcast. Welcome everybody to our inaugural, as I just said, Nothing But Nets podcast, starring your excellent hosts, Joshua David and Power Go. How are you, Power?
I'm good, Josh. How are you doing?
I'm good. So would you like to inform the audience about what Nets we'll be talking about?
So we're going to be talking about the Brooklyn Nets and just their upcoming season. We're just going to be covering all about them. And there's not a lot of good Nets podcasts out there. Actually, none when I looked up any of them. So we just want to fill that void. And it's a team that we're interested in, and we definitely want to talk about them.
You know, it's funny. People are probably wondering, actually, like, besides that, this podcast? Our motivation really is the Nets are one of the most intriguing teams in the NBA. Would you agree?
Definitely. They have a lot of interesting pieces, and they're not really built in a way that NBA teams normally are built. So intriguing is a good word to use for them.
Yeah, they were 14th in the Eastern Conference, only 21 wins, 61 losses, which is better than the Sixers last year, but still pretty bad. But what makes them so fun is the fact that, how they got here is one of the most interesting stories. Shout out to Billy King, one of our favorite guys, for his comedic efforts as a general manager.
Yeah, they really dug themselves in a big hole. You mentioned their record, and for a lot of teams with that kind of record, they have hope at the end of the season, and they have a high draft pick to build upon. But of course, the Brooklyn Nets have nothing. The management and front office of the past, they really kind of mortgaged the future for the present, and it didn't really work out. Needless to say, the Nets were never really good, and kind of way that they're set up, it's going to be very difficult for them to be good in the future too.
Yeah, I don't know. The Nets, again, intriguing is a word we're going to use a lot because um, what a team. Just the fact that they have no draft picks in their this upcoming draft, which is said to be a very good draft, and the fact that they have their team arguably devoid for the Brooklyn Nets. So again, let's backtrack a little. How'd they get here? That
Yeah,
big KG Paul Pierce Boston trade. That's how
yeah,
it all began, right?
yeah. And I remember when that mega team, what mega team was constructed. It just didn't feel good. It didn't. I mean, to me, it just never felt like they were going to be any good. I mean, they were hoping for second, third seed at best. They were not championship contenders at all, and they really just kind of gave up the farm for a couple years rentals of really aging superstars in Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. And the NBA has some rules where you're not allowed to trade away consecutive draft
Yeah.
picks so that you don't get yourself in this huge hole. But of course, the Brooklyn Nets not only did they trade away all the alternating draft picks in alternating years, but they gave the Celtics the rights to swap picks for 2 other years too. So, this current year, the past draft, they lost that draft pick. Next year, they're going to have a pick swap with Boston. So Boston will get the better of the draft picks, and then they lose their draft pick after that. So really, they're talking about like no lottery picks for like the next 2 years plus the last couple of years. So they've kind of had to build in interesting ways now.
Yeah, and that's again what makes them really fun team. Actually, they're probably not going to be fun on the basketball court, but you never know.
You never
But
know. That's why you have to go out there and play the games. They have a competent front office now. So,
shout out to Sean Marks,
yep. So,
Spurs GM RC Buford Tree.
yeah, those guys, he seems like a really intelligent guy. And we'll talk about the front office a little bit later. But yeah, the Nets have not been run well, and they're in a big hole. And Sean Marks has a big task ahead of him. But he's kind of assembled a cast right now that not a lot of people are picking to do very well. But they have some talent, some interest to go on there. So what do you think, Josh?
Um, I'm not as optimistic on the Nets as some other people are. I don't think next season's gonna be very nice to them in the wins column, but there are some interesting pieces. They have this one pretty famous guy in New York, Jeremy Lin, pretty solid player, nice hair. We'll talk about that later. Um, they missed out on Alan Crabb. They missed out on Tyler Johnson, who would have been some nice young pieces to fit the puzzle. But otherwise, it's gonna be it's why are you optimistic for this team?
Well, I mean, I just think that the way that Sean Marks is building this team, he's trying to put it together the right way. He's not like the old regime where he's looking for quick fixes. He's really trying to do it the right way. And they've hired a coach, Kenny Atkinson, and his staff that really works on player development. And I feel like so much of the NBA is being in the right situation for your talent. So we have a lot of guys who are maybe like cast-offs or journeymen or whatever, and they're really going to get a chance to show what they can do this year. And some of them are, I think, some of them will stand out, and some of them will have really good years. And they're going to surprise some people this year. By no means am I picking them to be title favorites or even playoffs or whatever, but I think when you have a bunch of hardworking, high-character guys who play together as a team, I mean, look at the Charlotte Hornets last year. They weren't picked to be very good, but they played hard. They have good guys, and they had a really good season last year.
Yeah, that's why I feel like there's some reason for hope. Like, there's no team that's like entirely hopeless. Even a team like the Nets, maybe the Kings, but the Nets have a little hope. This Marks Atkinson tandem, that front office coach duo, I think they're going to do a good job establishing culture. As you said, I think they both come from winning cultures, and I just think they're going to be headed the right direction. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. I think they're headed in the right direction, and just like you said, I think culture is going to be like so important for that team, and that's really going to kind of set up a blueprint for success for them. Well, let's go ahead and let's start talking about the acquisitions that Sean Marks has made. And why don't we start off with the first acquisitions that they made, starting with the draft. So, like we talked about, the Nets didn't have any draft picks, but they made some moves to kind of get some draft picks. They traded off Thaddeus Young to the Pacers for the 20th pick, I believe, and there they drafted Karis LeVert. What are your thoughts on Karis?
Maybe he wasn't in the top 20. He wasn't even in the first round of some draft boards, but people often forget that his junior year was a rough one because of his injury, and he was at one point a lottery pick, albeit that was in the terrible. Well, no, it wasn't. It was 2 years ago when he was a freshman. People thought he would go out. He was a pretty good player. He handled the ball well. He could shoot, and does he have good physicals? I don't remember, but I know this.
Yeah, he's about
it's a
6'7".
pick for the future.
Yeah,
they're gambling on his upside.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that if this is a guy who has all the skills and all the talent, he's like a 6'7" combo guard. He can play kind of both spots, and if he had stayed healthy, because he's just had like a ton of injuries, he definitely would have been picked higher for sure. So just like you said, the Nets need as many young pieces as they can to build upon. So I think that's a good start. A good start for them.
Pardon me? I think the Nets will be. That's why they don't have their draft picks. That's the thing that gets me all the time. The whole point of the system the NBA has is there's hope for teams, because if they bottom out, they'll have a chance at a higher draft pick. The Celtics swap ruins everything. The fact that they lost those picks too ruins everything. Because let's be honest, next year, unless the Celtics have Isaiah Thomas injured, they have Jay Crowder injured, they have Brad Stevens somehow decides to go back to Butler, or he gets offered a job. I don't know.
Don't forget Al Horford too, man. Al Horford, they're going to be a good team.
Yeah, there's no way that team he's not a playoff team, in my opinion. You can't
Yeah.
judge right away, but judging based on the talent they have and the coaching staff and everything, the Celtics will be good. That's why it's hard. You have to somehow convince me that this Nets team has a little more optimism. I think Karis LeVert's a nice piece. We haven't talked really about Isaiah Whitehead yet, but what do you think about him?
Well, I mean, before we move on to Whitehead, I think the Nets have to take risks. They don't have their lottery picks. They have to take gambles like LeVert. I mean, he might pan out, he might not, but those are the kind of picks that they have to take to see to get young talent on their team. So, I think it's a gamble that's worth taking. Whitehead.
Quick question, really quickly, before we go into Whitehead. Looking back on the draft, do you think LeVert was the best pick for them, though? They had an opportunity to take Scalabrine. They had an opportunity to take Deontay Davis. People who thought had more upside. Chad Ford had Deontay Davis in his top 15 on his draft board, and Scal was almost he was projected to go to the Raptors in many mock drafts. What do you think about that? Do you think they made the right pick?
Well, okay. When I first heard that pick, I was like, they traded Thaddeus Young to get Karis LeVert, who was projected as a second rounder. But I think the Nets are more focused on improving the backcourt. They have obviously Brook Lopez, and last year they did kind of a similar thing with McCullough, who had torn his ACL, and he was also projected to be a lottery pick, and he's like a 6'11" power forward. So I feel like they have Rondé Hollis-Jefferson and McCullough kind of slotted as their forwards, young guys to develop at the forward spots. So I think they wanted to try to grab some guards. So there were definitely some bigs that I really liked that were still on the board. But I mean, I guess LeVert's okay. But who did the Spurs draft? He was supposed to be ranked pretty high too. Yeah, so he could have been a guy who maybe would have been a better pick, but we'll see. I think LeVert's a better shooter. I think he's a good shooter, so I think he could be a good fit.
Yeah, as he said, just I think 2 years ago he was projected to be in the lottery. But let's move on to Whitehead. Whitehead's a fun player.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not a huge college basketball guy, so I don't know a lot about Whitehead. I know that he's a Brooklyn native, and he's played there, and it's really good PR for them. And the Nets need good PR and good and more fan interest. So in that sense, I think it's a good move. In terms of basketball, I don't know how much he's really going to contribute this year.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, you never know though. I just remember Isaiah Whitehead, watching him and seeing Hall. This kid has confidence. The kid is a gunner. He's willing to just score and score and score. He's going to be fun to watch. He's like a combo guard, and it's going to be interesting. One thing I wonder about the Nets draft picks, though. What do you? I can't shake the feeling that they could have, they could have reached more. They could have gone for more upside. Tingling on to me. What do you think about that? We talked a little bit about that, but can you elaborate more on what you think about that?
I definitely think that there was guys with bigger upside in the draft that they could have gone for, but like I said, mainly they were front court players. A lot of guys who are ranked to go higher, like Davis and Labissiere and even Zubats, were all like, top 15, top 20 guys projected going in. And I love Zubats. I love him. But, with Brook Lopez and some of these other front court guys, I can understand where their thinking went. And to be honest with you, I mean, these GMs and these guys, they watch so much more basketball and college film than we do. I'm gonna trust Marks on this decision, and we'll have to see. I mean, you just never know.
Okay, since we talked about the draft, let's move on to the July happenings in the offseason. Free agency. So they strike out on Alan Crabb and Tyler Johnson, both restricted free agents which their respective teams, which are Portland and Miami, matched their offer sheet. I think those would have been good signings for the Nets. It's unfortunate, but what do you think?
Those are two guys that I really like, guys who could shoot and who are young enough to kind of build a core for Brooklyn. I think they would have fit the system really well. But they got huge deals. And I know the Nets have a ton of salary cap space, but man, some of those deals. You're talking about like $20 million for a year for some of these guys, and those are crazy numbers. So
But remember the cap with all the NBA TV money coming in, there's going to be a spike. But then is that after the Warriors thing with KD going there? I think they're smoothing it out next year, so it's going to be a lot harder. Not harder, but it's not going to be as much of a spike as people think, right?
I don't think they're smoothing it out yet, but I think that that this year was the biggest jump.
Yeah.
I think it's going to jump next year, but it's not going to smooth it. And I know all the salaries are going to be insane now, but still, I think that Crabbe and Johnson would have been overpaid. I mean, they're good players, but I'm not sure they're worth their salaries. But of course, you got to overpay to get those guys to play in Brooklyn. And it definitely would have been nice to have them on the team. But I think the Nets will be okay without them. If they have a good season where they show that they're making progress and heading in the right direction, next free agency, which is supposed to be an even bigger one, I think that they can pick up some comparable talent next year too. You there? Josh, you frozen? Yo, you there?
Meeting. Yeah, I'm here.
I lost you for a second there.
Apologies for the tech viewers. We just like to take a moment to tell you that the Nothing But Nets podcast is sponsored by no one right now.
So if you're interested, get at us.
Hey, just email us at what's our email?
Nothingbutnetpodcast@gmail.com. And
All
we're
right.
gonna have our Twitter feed, our Twitter set up soon too. So we'll have all that ready for you guys too.
This is our debut podcast, so apologies for any technical difficulties or other kinks we're trying to work out with this. And but we're excited. So let's keep talking about the Nets.
All right, let's move on to the guys that they did get. I think one of the first signings was Trevor Booker. What do you think about Trevor Booker?
Trevor Booker. One of my favorite memories about Trevor Booker. He hit that no-looker. Trevor Booker on the Utah Jazz. They called him no-looker Booker. Anyways, that's from one highlight that you should probably check out on YouTube. One of the most amazing shots. But I think he'll be okay. I mean, he's a good backup big. He started when Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors dealt with their injury problems last year for the Jazz. And I don't think it's a terrible signing. What do you think?
I mean, I think he's definitely going to bring a lot of toughness and defense and rebounding to that team. And he's going to be able to hit that occasional mid-range jump shot. But I think, toughness is where he's really going to, help shape that team. I remember when Enes Kanter left the Jazz and Booker just lit into him and started talking trash, and he was just not afraid to back down. And I think from your floor guy, from one of your bigs, it's good to have that somebody like that who's going to stand up for everybody else and just kind of be a tough guy. Because I'm not sure if Brook Lopez is that type of guy. So I think Booker can bring that. I'm not sure if he's the best starting four, but and I don't know. We're gonna have to see kind of how Atkinson plans the rotation, but he might be slotted as a starting power forward right now.
Yeah, we don't know what the rotation's gonna look like. If we're being 100% honest, we don't know how Atkins is. I think it's not a bad signing. It's not the sexiest signing, obviously, but then again, we're gonna come back to this idea that they're the Nets and they have to get what they can. They have to get creative in what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, I think all you can say was it was a solid signing. It wasn't huge money. He's a good player, so solid signing. So
Agreed.
So on to the next guy. Let's talk about Joe Harris. What do you think about Joe Harris?
They're getting the scraps from Cleveland. Joe Harris, how many minutes did he play when he was on the Cavs? I didn't watch anything at Virginia. But when he was in college, but I don't know. I just remember one time he had a 3-pointer and LeBron was cheering for him. Good for him.
I remember he had a pretty solid stretch at one point when I think this was last year, the start of last year, when they had some injuries, and he started for a while and he played pretty decently. He's definitely a floor spacer. Hopefully he's kind of like a tough-nosed guy who can contribute.
But with saying that, I think the Nets can use anything at this point, so it's not a bad pickup.
Yeah, not too bad. Man, I know like these are just not the most sexiest picks, like pickups that you can have. We're talking about guys, and most of you guys probably like, who's Joe Harris or who's Trevor Booker, but that's the guys the Nets got. So, I mean, there's Justin Hamilton. I think he's going to be a solid center. Not sure how much he's going to move the needle. So let's just move on.
Wait, really quick question about Justin Hamilton. Did he play in the EuroLeague last year?
Yeah, I think he was drafted by the Heat, but then he had a really good, solid season in the EuroLeague. I think it's Spain, like maybe the second best league in the world after the NBA. Yeah. So he had a good season. He's a nice stretch big. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a fine signing too.
We forgot one guy. There's this one Asian guy on that team.
Hey, before we get to him, we got to talk about Anthony Bennett, man.
Do we really have to? Like, I don't.
Okay, you got to talk about Anthony Bennett for like 1 minute because I got to go take care of something really quickly. So talk about Anthony Bennett.
While Howard deals with a little boy, I'll be talking about Anthony Bennett. For those of you who don't know, Anthony Bennett was the first pick in the, how do I put this kindly, the not so great 2013 NBA draft. He is Canadian, and he played for the Raptors last year, and he was drafted by Cleveland, but hasn't had a great career in the NBA so far. Has trouble, maintaining his weight. He hasn't been great. I really don't know what else there is to say. There's not much to say about Anthony Bennett as it is right now. There's not much to say about the Nets. The Nets, I don't know. I'm rambling here as Power's helping his little baby. But Anthony Bennett, though, if you ask the Nets if they had to have one player who was the first pick in the past 5 drafts, it would be Anthony Bennett. And I'm sorry to all the Nets fans who have to experience this. Hopefully there aren't too many fast food places around where he is stationed because, there's stories of his late-night pizza runs at UNLV when he was in college, but who knows? I mean, what if he all of a sudden explodes for 20 points a game, 5 rebounds? I mean, that wouldn't be great rebounding, but, like, I don't know. Like, some of these Nets signings are kind of depressing. It's a metaphor for the team itself. I mean, they're desperate. There's parallelisms between this Nets team and actually they're across the street rivals, the Knicks. And we'll talk a little bit about the Knicks later, hopefully, because that's another story.
Sorry about that, guys. Gotta take care of the kids. Gotta take care of the kids there. Man, that was a rant that you went on. Poor Anthony Bennett, man. Former number 1 pick. He can't even catch a break, huh?
No, I mean, here's the thing. As I said, I don't want to look down on the guy. It's just, like, here's the thing I'm happy about. I'm happy they're giving him a chance. I hope the guy makes use of this chance because based on what I've heard about the player himself, he doesn't really want it. He's not really, like, committed to the game of basketball.
Hey, supposedly he's in great shape. He had a great summer for Team Canada,
Actually.
But, he's probably, I mean, to expect him to live up to expectations of the number 1 pick, that's obviously long gone. And just hopefully he can contribute something to the team. I mean, you never know. He has lots of potential. He has lots of tools, but it's going to be wishful thinking to hope that he contributes much this season, I think.
If Anthony Bennett's watching this, I don't mean any harm or...
Prove him wrong, Anthony Bennett. Prove him wrong.
I think you can use this negative energy and create it into something positive. Anthony Bennett, we believe in you. But we must note that 2013 draft wasn't the best of drafts.
Horrible draft. Horrible draft.
No, let's be a little nice. There's
Hey,
some
was Giannis in that draft?
yes.
Oh well, Giannis is good.
Giannis.
And Gobert.
Gobert. There's this Victor Oladipo was in that draft.
Oladipo is all right. He's
A free agent who a legend, Dion Waiters.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, Nets do not sign Dion Waiters. I know you guys are talking about it. Do not sign Dion
We'll
Waiters.
get to their future options later. But we forgot about the Asian guy.
All right. Now for our main man, and probably the reason why most of you guys are listening to this podcast.
And honestly, the reason why I'm doing this podcast. Just kidding.
It's Jeremy Lin. Man, before we even get started on Jeremy Lin, man, I know that some of his fans are just straight up crazy, and they're just like Lin maniacs, and they're like trolls, and there's like all kinds of like super crazy Lin fans out there. We are not those people. Hopefully, we're trying to just give you a fair look at him and his strengths and weaknesses. He's he is what he is. We're obviously fans of him and his game, but we're not crazy. We're not crazy. Okay, so don't take it that way. But we do like Jeremy Lin.
I will defend Jeremy Lin and sacrifice my pride to defend him. That's my guy. That's my guy.
That's my guy too, man. I've met the guy. I have a signed jersey and a signed basketball sitting in my house of him. I love Jeremy Lin, and we've been waiting. I think a lot of people have been waiting for this moment for him, where he's going to get a chance to really do his thing and shine, and have a coach that believes in him. And he hasn't had that since D'Antoni in the Knicks, last time that he was in New York. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I'm a little cautious. I don't want to put like these huge expectations on him. I think, he can do a ton of stuff. I really do, but he's going to have to go out there and do it before I get too hyped up.
One thing really quickly. I think he could have gotten more money in free agency.
I think so too, but I think that
I think really, but I think if you read all the things the media is saying about it, one of the big factors in his signing with the Nets was his relationship with Atkinson as a developmental coach when he was on the Knicks. Atkinson and Jeremy Lin, they bonded, and that's why I have hope for this pairing. I think I wanted Lin to go to a contender. He could be the sixth man off the bench and really help a team, but this gives him his best opportunity maybe to grow as a player and maybe to shine. And, Jeremy Lin has proven a lot of people wrong in his career, and I think he could prove a lot of people wrong here.
Definitely. And, I was not like you. I did not want him to go be a backup somewhere else, even though he had a great season in Charlotte. I've been waiting for him to just really get a chance to, as Coach Atkinson says, be the full-time point guard. And he's kind of said it, that Jeremy is the full-time point guard. They're going to give him the ball and see what he can do. And I think that, when he's empowered and he gets the minutes, I think he's going to have a much improved season. Whatever that means, I think he's going to have a really good season this year.
Yeah, it's going to be – it's an interesting fit. As you said, he's going to be the ball handler. He's going to have that starting point guard duty. One thing that's interesting, I think Atkinson will have him play off the ball more. He's going to have a little bit Sean Kilpatrick and stuff and like have a little bit – I was reading somewhere they're going to have more Hawks-like offense, and they're going to be more how do I say this, unselfish with the ball. What do you think about that? Because he did it with Kemba in Charlotte, and I think it could work.
Yeah, I think, of course, like, when Linsanity happened, it was just like pick and roll. And Jeremy had the ball like 90% of the time. And obviously, he put up huge numbers, and it was a really fun time. But I think in reality, you want that kind of better balance on the basketball court. And, I think Jeremy Lin, he's just had kind of like a few years of really, it's been a struggle for him, but I think he's learned a lot, especially about how to play off the ball, with Harden, with Kobe, with Kemba.
For sure, definitely.
So, he's been through hard times, but I think hopefully my hope is that those times have been preparing him for this moment where, he'll have time with the ball to show what he can do, but he can also succeed off the ball where he can, kind of use those skills that he's learned the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's why as I said, I'm hopeful and optimistic about Jeremy Lin, my guy, being on the Nets, because it's just gonna give him a chance to show what he's got, and to use the things he's learned through his stints with the Rockets, the Lakers, which was a terrible time. The Lakers, Lin, forget the Lakers times, and the successful run with Charlotte. But one thing I do wonder about this fit, so as I said, they might be running a Hawks type offense. How do you think he's gonna? Okay, let me simplify the question. What do you think his splits will be next year?
What do I think is what? His stats?
Yeah. If you had to put money on it.
Okay, if I had to be like conservative, I would say like 16 and 6. I think that's
interesting.
I think conservatively he would be like 16 points, 6 assists. I think that's realistic and attainable. If everything goes really well, and it just clicks and everything works out and they have good chemistry, I could definitely see him getting to like the 18, 19, 7, 8, 9 assists per game. I think that's possible, but probably a little bit less realistic than 16 and 6.
That's interesting.
What about you? What do you think?
It's tough to put a finger on it. As I said, I don't know. I really don't. Like, it could be anywhere to, like a 14-point, 5 assist season to a 21-point, 8 assist season. It could be a great season. I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean,
you think about it. Last year he played off the bench. He played 20-something, minutes per game, and he was averaging like 11 point something. Even with the Lakers, he averaged like 11 points per game. On the Rockets, that year that he started, I think he was like at 13 or 14, and he didn't have the ball in his hands a lot. I would hope at least 16 points per game. With this chance to shine, I would hope at least 16. But
actually, I completely take that back. I just remembered who was on that roster. He's gonna average 35 points a game.
Well, okay, let's see. Okay, obviously Brook Lopez, he's gonna eat first, right? He's gonna be he's probably gonna be the leading scorer of the team. He's gonna get you 18 to like 22, 23 points per game, right? You can expect that from Lopez. And then I think Lin will definitely be like the second leading scorer. That's what I would anticipate. But you never know.
My other guy, the 2 guard on that team, Sean Kilpatrick, the guy can score. Cincinnati Bearcat, the kid can score. And I forgot, they have Bogdan, or is it Bohan?
I don't know. They got some semi-shooters on that team. But I mean, these are numbers with Lopez. With Lopez's injury history, if he goes down, Lin could put up some big numbers.
He should go for 81. I think he should.
But we're not hoping for Lopez to go down. We definitely want Lopez to be healthy, have a really good year, and hopefully him and Jeremy will be that 1-2 punch this year.
I like Brook Lopez. He seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, definitely down to earth guy.
He likes going to Comic-Con. Actually, that's Robin, but still, they both are in stuff. Stanford grads too. Interesting.
Hey, definitely, I think the smartest 1-2 punch in the NBA, huh? Stanford and Harvard guys.
Yeah, I know, right? They're going to be the most educated. Well, here's what they should do.
They should go sign Landry Fields, man.
Yes, definitely. They should create an all top 5 college team.
All Ivy Leaguers. All Ivy Leaguers.
They could have a starting lineup. Yeah,
it's gonna be
Jeremy Lin's the only Ivy League guy in the NBA.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, so you can do what? Brooke and Robin, Landry Fields, Jeremy Lin,
Anthony Brown.
Hey, actually, the Lopez twins and Fields were on the same college team, and that's the team that Lin wanted to go to. That could have been their college team. Can you imagine that?
That would have been cool. I mean, I don't think he'd have. I don't know. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, probably Jeremy might not have gotten drafted if he was on that team.
Yeah, that's the thing. He had some big spurts on that Harvard Crimson team.
Yeah,
But,
that was good for him. That was good for
who
him.
else can you add to that team? Are those the only ones? I have a feeling we're forgetting someone.
What about CJ McCollum? Lehigh?
That's not an Ivy League, though.
I know. I don't think there's any other Ivy Leaguers.
Yeah, there's only one Ivy League player in the NBA, but we're trying to find another Stanford guy. I feel like there's one more guy.
They're probably like all out of the league.
Yeah, that's so true. Anyhow, someday we should. That'd be fun. And then they'll use the Pythagorean theorem to get the best angle.
They'll calculate the best angle, best all
Yeah.
analytical team. All
That'd
analytic.
be amazing. All they would do is shoot threes and run.
Like the Rockets.
Yes, Daryl Morey would join that team. MIT guy.
Oh, let's not go there. All right. So any more thoughts on Jeremy Lin?
I'll close with this on Jeremy. I know there's a lot of fans out there with him. And there's reason to be optimistic. I think he's going to have a good season. I think he has a chance to be possibly ready for this. I think he could be the lead scorer on that team. I really do. I really do. I don't trust Brook Lopez's legs. I don't. I'm sorry. And I
He
think
was healthy. He had a great year last year.
I do, but if you look at his injury history, it hasn't been great. So I don't know if I can judge him based on that 1 year instead of his whole career. But, I really think Jeremy Lin could become a really featured option on that team. You can't deny Jeremy Lin's ability to score, especially in the pick and roll. He has to I think he's been working on his shot. That'd be great if he did.
He has been, definitely has been.
And if he develops into at least an above average 3-point shooter, I think that'd be huge for his game. Because if there's one NBA skill that Jeremy Lin's great at, just great at, he can drive the basketball to the bucket.
Definitely. He can get to the paint.
Yes. And for all those people that are offensive and racist, Asians can drive. Jeremy Lin is an example of that. He can drive it to the basket. And so, in conclusion, on Jeremy Lin, I think it's going to be a good year for him. How about you? What do you think?
I think so too. It's going to be a good year. But in conclusion, how can you forget about the most important thing, man? The hair.
Oh, my. Oh, my. My hair is doing great right now, as you can see.
He's trying to do the Jeremy Lin right there too.
My part is on the other side. No. What do you think of the braids?
I kind of liked it, like a little Allen Iverson in there.
Oh, my.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not something I would do myself, but hey, good for him. Have fun with it. You want to do the cornrows, go for it.
I absolutely loved the hair last year. The spiked up. No, I liked it when he didn't even, spike it up. It was just messy and it looked like a bowl cut. You know why? Because I almost got that haircut. I asked my barber, hey, can I give me a haircut? And he got mad at me. He didn't get mad, but it just didn't go well. So I did not get the haircut.
Man, my favorite haircut for Jeremy Lin, honestly, is like the Laker haircut with just like the mini faux hawk with like a couple lines in the hair. I thought that was cool. I thought that was good enough.
Sorry, Power. I'm not going to remember any of Jeremy Lin's Laker years. They weren't. I'm not going to think of those years. That's no.
That was a good hair. That was a good hair tie, man. That's when he was a little Hollywood.
Man, just to all the Jeremy Lin haters out there, how can you not root for the guy? Just a decent guy, nice fella.
Okay, honestly, I think lots of people like Jeremy Lin, but some of his fans, honestly, are out of control.
That's fine. Look at Laker fans. Well, both of us are Laker fans, but for some reason we're doing a Nets podcast. But let me say this: we Laker fans defend Kobe to death, to like literally the death. We will defend Kobe even if people will say things like Tim Duncan had a better career. We say Kobe's better. We don't even really back it up. We just say Kobe's better because we have that passion, we have that fire. These Jeremy Lin fans are in the same way as us. They have, sorry for my improper grammar, but they have that same fire. They just have that passion, and I respect that.
Yeah, I respect that too. You Jeremy Lin fans, including us, we're Lin fans too. Root for your guy. Just be cool about it, okay?
Yeah, just respect other fans. But if people hate on Jeremy, just say, okay, he'll prove you wrong next.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for his fans to defend him. He needs to just go out there and do it, and I think he's going to do that this year. But he doesn't need people to defend him. He really doesn't. He can do it himself. He's a grown man.
Yeah, he's man. You fans, God bless you. You are wonderful people, and
But I know he appreciates his fans and those guys who are fanatical and all out for him. He does appreciate those guys, and you guys always have his back, and that's cool. That's cool too.
We should rename this podcast the Brooklyn Podcast.
I think that's copyrighted. There's like some other websites and stuff already doing it. So
okay, we've been very Jeremy Lin focused for like the past 20 minutes. So in conclusion, as we said, we're optimistic for Jeremy Lin. We think this will be a great year for him. But let's move on a little bit to the Nets and their future. What do you think? Do you think, as I said, it's a future, even in the midst of Jeremy Lin's hope and the new coaching staff and the new management? Do you think there's hope that they can ever, get out of this dark tunnel and see the light that is success?
Well, I think with sports and all teams, there's always hope, right? That's why we root for the teams, and we love these teams and we want them to do well.
Unless you're the Kings, there's hope.
Yeah, so there is hope, but I think it has to be a little under control. Like without the draft picks, it's hard. It's going to be a difficult rebuild without these high draft picks. Historically, those top 5, top 3 guys at the draft are the guys who are going to make big impacts in the league. And if you look at the history of the NBA, it's a stars league. The best players are the ones who lead teams to championships. But saying all that, I think that the front office and Sean Marks and Coach Atkinson are really leading this team in the right direction, building the culture, doing the right things. And it gave them the opportunity to get Lin, and we're going to see how he does. If he has a really good year, I think it's going to help speed up the rebuild definitely, and it'll attract free agents, and hopefully that these guys can draft well. It's kind of to be determined, but I think it's definitely headed in the right direction, better than where they've been in the past, where they've just kind of focused on how much money can we spend right now and how many assets can we give up to build the best team for this season, which is not winning basketball. You have to think about championships in mind, about the big picture, the long-term goals.
And to all those Net fans, do we say Nets fans or Net fans? I don't know.
Nets fans.
To all the fans out there, you need to exercise patience. It's going to be a long rebuild. And here's the thing, Nets fans: if there's any bright side to this quote unquote gloomy future, there's no team winning the championship in the next 3 years but the Warriors or Cavs. So it's a good time to not be great. You don't want to be in the position that the Clippers are in, or some other.
Even the Atlanta Hawks, right? Like where you're a nice regular season team and you can't compete.
You're getting them checks, Dwight Howard.
Hey, you can't say no one but the Warriors or the Cavs are going to win. You never know, man. You never know.
I will bet you $10.
Dude, OKC was like 10 minutes away from winning it all. If they had beaten Golden State, which they could have, very easily could have, they would have beaten the Cavs. And everyone was saying, Golden State, 73 wins. No one else is winning the championship. They lost. Anything can happen. They're one KD injury away from not winning the championship. LeBron could cramp up again, okay? Most likely it's going to be Cavs and Warriors, but don't count other teams out. You never know.
I'm not counting them out. I'm just stating that there's a
$10. $10.
Let's raise it 20 that the Warriors or Cavs win the next 3 championships.
All right, $20.
Oh shucks! What if the Timberwolves become good? Oh no!
$20. Let's do it. $20. I'll take that bet.
Actually, the Thunder might contend. You know why? Russell Westbrook might prove that he can be 5 people on the court at the same time. and then multiples of Westbrook.
Westbrook's going to the Lakers. Okay, forget the Thunder.
I don't, I don't know. I'm no comment there. But going back to the Nets, what were we talking about again? I completely just
the future, the front office, and the future.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about the future of the Nets?
So the Nets. Let's talk about right now, the present, future. They have $18 million in cap space. What should they do with that money?
Definitely not sign Dion Waiters. That's definitely not what they should not do. Okay, I don't care what they do with the cap space. No,
you wouldn't be willing to do a 1-year, $18 million contract for Dion Waiters.
Heck no.
1 year. It's worth taking a flyer on with a team option next year.
No way.
That's more than anyone's bidding for Dion.
Then why would you give him $18 million, right?
I don't know. Just take a flyer on him.
No way. He's a cancer, man. He's not. That's not how you build culture.
He's being in the playoffs.
Okay, Sean Marks and Atkinson at their press conference when they introduced those new guys, they said it so many times. High character guys. That's not what Dion Waiters is, man.
I'm alone here in this conversation in Waiters Island.
You're on Waiters Island. You're gonna be there by yourself, man.
No, Bill Simmons is with me.
Those guys are getting off, man. Those guys are getting off. He doesn't even have a team. You know where Waiters should go? Him and JR need to go sign with the Kings. That's where they should go.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. Imagine it with Darren Collison. You have J.R. Smith, Dion Waiters, and then
how about we'll do Scal and Boogie. Those guys are going to kill Scal.
Wait, who's there for? They started Jason Thompson. No, Jason Thompson wasn't even on their team last year.
Yeah, he
was. Who was there?
Oh, they got Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay.
Oh, we forgot about Rudy Gay.
Yeah, Rudy Gay. Yeah. He's one of those guys too. Okay, nobody wants to hear about the Kings. Okay,
can we go back to Dion Waiters?
Okay. Let me tell you one guy that I would sign. I would take a flyer on is Mo Harkless. That's
exactly what I was about to say.
They struck out on Crab. Portland has already invested so much money in Evan Turner. Come on, give me a break, Evan Turner, man. But I think, for the right price, if they could get Harkless, I think Harkless could add a lot. He's like 23 or something, right?
He's insanely young.
Yeah, so I think Harkless would be good. I mean, they might be done. I don't know if they're still adding guys, but Harkless is a guy that I would be interested in still.
That's funny. I still think the flyer on Dion Waiters would be fun, though.
No.
Dion Waiters backcourt. That'd be great. Hey, Dion Waiters, you know what he can do? Okay, really quickly. Did you watch Dion Waiters in the playoffs?
I did watch Dion Waiters in the playoffs. He had a nice playoffs, but he was like the fourth option. Okay, if he goes to the Nets, he's going to want to be the number one option.
Here's the thing about him. He does some things bad. He'll miss the occasional layup wide open. He will make the occasional.
It's not about the talent. He's obviously talented. It's all the mental. He's a head case, man. He's a numbers guy.
That's where you and I differ a little bit. You're not a fan of Boogie Cousins and his attitude. I'm willing to take that on.
No Boogie.
We keep mentioning the Kings. We should do a Kings podcast.
Oh, nobody will listen.
No, but no one. The Kings. We don't.
Is there any? Okay, so Harkless. Is there any other guys out there besides Harkless?
Yes, there is. Rudy Fernandez in Real Madrid.
I thought he almost signed with Philly, right?
I don't know. He's I have a feeling we're gonna see an influx of Euro players because actually I don't know. I have no idea. But one guy I think they could take a flyer on is I don't know, actually. I don't know what flyers they can take. Dion and Harkless were the big names.
I really wish that they had gone and looked for like a stretch four. I really wanted them to sign Myers Leonard. I thought Leonard would have been a nice piece to stretch the floor there, but I don't know. I don't know if there's any other stretch fours out there worth pursuing.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, it's just. Do you think they can get anything in the trade market? They don't have assets, though. They don't.
Yeah, the problem is they have no assets. They have no assets at all. So I think they're just going to have to look for bargains and projects, and hey, who knows? They might find the next Hassan Whiteside. You never know.
It all went down when Jay-Z sold his share in the Nets. Oh, man. So now let's think more long-term future. What's next for the Nets?
What do you think? What are your thoughts on the Nets in the future?
It's going to be a rough few years. There's going to be some bright spots. I think Jeremy Lin will be a bright spot for them. I think Brook Lopez might develop into – I mean, he's already a very good player. His stats make him seem like a perennial all-star, but I'm optimistic because the coaching staff, Kenny Atkinson, he's the one who developed Al Horford's perimeter game. And what if he did that with Brook? Who knows? Who knows? I don't know what to expect.
Bazemore had a great year too. He worked a lot with Atkinson.
Next thing you know, the Brooklyn Nets, one thing we haven't acknowledged is the NBA version of luck. Luck is very important in this thing, in the NBA. For whatever happens, like literally all the teams that are in front of them, not all, but a lot of bad things will happen to the teams in front of them, and they get an 8 seed. Who knows? That's not gonna happen. But in the long term,
so how many wins do you think that they're gonna win this year? If you had to put a number, how many wins do you think the Nets?
I can't answer that question. You can't. I don't want to answer it. You answer it first.
Okay, I honestly don't know, but like I said, I do believe in Jeremy Lin. I think that he has the ability to make the people around him better. So I mean, we saw that in Linsanity when that you look at the roster of the guys when they won like all those games straight. Like how much talent did they really have? That roster is probably worse than the Nets roster now, right?
Wait. Are you talking about the Knicks roster?
Yeah, when they went through the Linsanity phase, like guys who are actually playing.
I think that's a better roster.
Okay, you talking about what? Shumpert, Fields, Novak,
Amari.
Tyson Chandler, and Jared Jeffries.
Post-prime Amari.
Amari wasn't even part of Linsanity, dude. Like they were winning all those games without Amari and Melo.
Actually, he was in the Toronto game. I distinctly remember that.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I feel like Amari was not that huge in.
I mean, he wasn't a huge fan of it, but
no, he wasn't a huge part of it, man. He was out.
He was a part of it, though.
Melo, Amari were out, and it was like Tyson, Jared Jeffries, Novak, Fields, and Iman Shumpert. And it was just like nobodies, man. Honestly, nobodies, and nobody could create their shot, and that's what helped create that magic of Linsanity. And like I feel like the Nets are in a position where they don't have any choice really but to give Lin the ball. Like there's no point in them tanking because they don't have their picks, right? So most teams in this situation would just tank, but there's no point for them to tank. So they want to be the best that they can. And I think for the Nets to be the best that they can, without much perimeter talent, is to give Lin the ball, and let him operate, let him feed Lopez. So I think they can be better than people expect. I mean, I might eat my words later. They could be horrible, but I think they could be good. I think they could sneak up on people. Depends. It depends on the coaching staff and their schemes and how they run things, but I think they could be decent. Second bet of the show already. Want to do like a over under on Nets wins this year?
No, I'm not going to do that. That's that's going to cause. I don't want to be. I'm just not going to comment. Here's a tough question. Who's going to be worse, Nets or Sixers?
I think the Sixers are going to be worse.
I don't think so. I think the Sixers will be better.
Because of Simmons? Simmons can't score, dude.
Here's what they're going to do. They're going to start Simmons at the 1. They're going to start Nerlens Noel at the 2. They're going to start Shirley Logamore at the 3. Dario Saric will be at the 3. Noel at the 4. They'll start a lineup of all 6'10" and over. And they'll win the championship.
They're going to be – Sixers are going to be better. They're going to be better, but they're not going to be like
okay. Really quick, better. I'd like to clarify. I just said the Sixers will win the championship. That was a joke.
You just lost all your credibility right there, man.
They are not going to win the championship. Maybe if you raise their 2K sliders up and if you make Ben Simmons have a 3-point jumper, a la Steph Curry, maybe. But no, they're another team that's very interesting. Like we don't know what's going to become of them. But focusing on the Nets, I think the Nets will be worse. I just think the Sixers have. I don't know. I just feel like
what talent do they have? They have Simmons and they have Noel and Okafor who can't
Dos Castillo.
coexist. Give me a break, man. Stauskas is not good.
I still believe.
He's not good.
I still believe.
And then
Nick
you got
Stauskas.
who? Jared Bayless as their point guard, and who's their
Gerald
two?
Henderson. They're gonna start They're gonna start Jared Bayless, Gerald Henderson, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons should be a 4. Who's
Darius Saric.
Saric is a 4 also.
It's gonna be what's his name? Covington.
Here's the thing. The big factor for them is this Joel Embiid character.
Dude, that guy is huge.
I think you're the one who you think he's gonna be a bust.
Okay, I think if he plays, he's gonna be good. But
You texted me a while back and said he's a bust. This is my guy. I thought he should have been.
If he plays, he's good. If he plays, he'll be good. The problem is, how often is he gonna play? It's like gonna be like Greg Oden all over again.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
It's been 2 years. Hey, I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he does. I think Embiid's a cool guy. He's awesome. Follow on Twitter. But he's got to go out there and play. And if he can play, then what are they going to do? They got Noel. They got Okafor.
Oh, Colangelo's been very public about trading one of those bigs.
Yeah, Okafor's going to go.
I think Okafor's the odd man out.
Okafor is not a good center in the modern NBA. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we're running long. Ending thoughts on the Nets. What are your ending thoughts on the Nets?
Be patient, Nets fans. And you could take this time to take up a new hobby. You know, you can learn how to sew. You can learn how to, I don't know, surf. Well, there's many surfing. There's not a lot of waves in Brooklyn. Okay, never mind that. But just you have to realize this is a time where your patience will be tested because your former GM, a man who I named earlier but will not be named for the rest of this podcast.
Voldemort status?
Your past GM didn't do a great job of, how do I say this, managing your future. You guys don't have the assets needed to, build a team to at least have a little success now or even in the near future. But as with all teams, there's optimism. There's light at the end of the tunnel. The issue with the Nets, the tunnel is very, very, very long. In the midst of that, there's still some fun pieces. You have Brook Lopez, who is a fun guy. He's gonna be put up maybe 20, maybe a double-double, good scoring. He improved his rebounding last year, but Jeremy Lin, who is our guy, we've spoken a lot. We haven't even spoken about if we should trade Brook Lopez or not, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna keep him. But Jeremy Lin, bright spot, and they have some interesting pieces. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, we didn't even talk about. Fun guy. That guy looks like a good guy. Anyway, Jeremy Lin. I keep repeating Jeremy Lin. It's Jeremy Lin. It's Jeremy Lin. And he is the Jeremy Lin of that Jeremy Lin team. And, so Nets fans, be patient. You'll be all right.
All right, my final thoughts. I think it's going to be hopefully it's going to be a fun year. Hopefully these guys will develop a lot under Atkinson. I expect a lot of improvement. And, you never know. You never know, Nets fans. Have hope, and it's going to be a fun year. Whatever happens, it'll be a fun year.
Definitely. It's the NBA, the greatest league on planet Earth, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And if the Nets, I'm gonna stop with the negative energy. There's one positive Nets fans can take. We should end the podcast right here as I think about a positive, and I'll get back to them in the next one.
Cliffhanger right there.
5 positives from the next podcast. So there's something for you guys to anticipate.
5 positives from Joshua David. Next podcast, you have it on camera there.
Yes, definitely. And I hope you enjoyed this this podcast, everyone. There were some rough parts. Connection was a little fuzzy sometimes. The baby was crying a little, and I had to go off on Anthony Bennett. Sorry, Anthony Bennett. But it's a work in progress.
Hey, just like the Brooklyn Nets, we're a work in
Yes.
progress. So there's nowhere to go but up from here.
You know what? Actually, this podcast is exemplary of the. This is an extended metaphor for the Nets.
We got a young, talented star in Joshua David, just like Jeremy Lin, ready to lift our podcast to newer heights, just like Jeremy Lin and the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, and we're gonna grow. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So, just be patient with us. It's gonna be fun, and we're gonna hopefully entertain you enough. We both have different, unique perspectives on this game of basketball, and it's gonna be fun. What do you think, Power?
Thanks for listening, guys. We're hoping to bring you lots of more Nets podcasts, and hope you guys enjoy it. And we will see you guys next time.
All right, blessings. Bye.
Bye, guys.